Welcome to our podcast, where today we dive into the fascinating yet complex world of living abroad as an expatriate. Joining me is Sarah, a seasoned expat herself, with over a decade of experience in various countries.
Thanks for having me. Living abroad is such a great adventure, but it requires a lot of preparation and understanding, especially when it comes to things like visas and taxes, which are crucial yet often daunting subjects.
Absolutely, Sarah. Let's start with visas, since that's typically the first hurdle for any would-be expat. I imagine it's not as simple as just hopping on a plane with a passport.
That's right. Most countries require you to have a visa beyond a tourist stay, which means researching the types and requirements is essential. For instance, a work visa might necessitate a valid employment offer, while a student visa could hinge on letters of acceptance.
Every country has its policies, right? How can people keep track of these differences?
Yes, each nation has its own rules, and it's important to consult official government websites or trusted immigration consultants to ensure all paperwork is up to date. Engaging with expat communities online can also provide invaluable first-hand insights.
Now, shifting gears to taxes, which often feel like a maze even back home. How does moving abroad complicate taxes further?
Taxes can indeed become tricky when living overseas. Many countries have treaties to prevent double taxation, but you'll need to understand your obligations to both your home country and your new place of residence. Consulting a tax professional who understands international tax law is often worthwhile.
Double taxation is especially challenging, I'd assume. Can you explain how people can avoid paying taxes twice?
It largely depends on agreements between countries. Take the United States, for example. They have foreign earned income exclusions and tax credits to help mitigate tax burdens abroad. Knowing what applies to your specific scenario is key.
Are there any best practices aside from just familiarizing oneself with regulations?
Definitely. Keeping track of a comprehensive record of income, expenses, and taxes paid is good practice. Digital tools and apps are amazing for staying organized, and so is maintaining a good relation with your accountant. The right help can make all the difference.
It seems preparation is crucial for a streamlined expat experience. But what about the personal aspects of moving abroad, like culture shock?
Adjusting to a new culture can be a significant hurdle. Finding community, often through expat groups, and learning about cultural nuances can ease that transition. Picking up the local language also helps bridge gaps and build connections.
It sounds both exciting and challenging, living as a global citizen. To wrap up, any final words of wisdom?
Embrace every moment. The bureaucratic details can be overwhelming, but they are manageable with research and the right support. Living abroad opens numerous opportunities for growth, learning, and exploration. Don't let fear of paperwork hold you back.
Great advice, Sarah. Thanks for sharing your expertise with us today. That's all for today's episode. Tune in next time as we explore more fascinating topics. Goodbye.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye.
Welcome back, everyone. As promised, we're diving deeper into the world of expatriate life. Today, we're joined by Emily, a seasoned traveler and expat who's lived in multiple countries over the last decade. Emily, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share my experiences and hopefully provide some useful insights.
Let's start with a big question. Having lived in so many different places, what do you think is the most important factor when settling into a new country?
I'd say adaptability is crucial. Each country has its own unique set of customs and traditions, and the ability to adjust easily is vital. But beyond that, building connections quickly through community involvement can make your transition smoother.
That sounds right. Community seems to play a massive role in how comfortable you feel abroad. How did you manage to tap into local communities in each place you lived?
Actually, coffee shops and local clubs became my go-to spots. I'd spend time in community centers, join local interest groups, or even take part in volunteering activities. You'd be surprised how welcoming people can be when you genuinely show an interest in their culture.
That's a fantastic tip, especially for those who might be shy or hesitant to step out initially. And you said adaptability was key. Can you give us an example of how that played out in your own life?
Sure. When I first moved to Japan, the work culture was quite different from what I was used to. Understanding the unspoken rules, like giving a slight bow instead of a handshake, and being punctual to the second, were things I had to learn quickly. It was overwhelming at first, but once I adapted, everything felt more natural.
Adapting to the local work environment seems like a vital part of the whole experience. Have you encountered any significant challenges that caught you by surprise?
One surprising challenge was dealing with loneliness. Despite being surrounded by people, the cultural and language barriers can sometimes make you feel isolated.
That's something I imagine many people struggle with. How did you tackle that feeling?
I focused on language learning. Even the basics helped bridge interactions and make me feel more connected. Plus, being able to share even small conversations made a significant difference.
Absolutely, language can be a powerful tool. Switching gears a bit, did you ever have to deal with any unanticipated bureaucratic hurdles, aside from the usual visas and taxes?
Oh, definitely. In Italy, for instance, I had to navigate the complexities of health insurance. Understanding how to register correctly and access the healthcare system was a maze.
That sounds daunting. How did you finally manage to sort it all out?
Enlisting help from local friends was invaluable. They guided me through the official procedures and even translated documents. Their help was crucial in cutting through the red tape.
Speaking of connecting with locals, it sounds like having local friends could ease a lot of the uncertainties when moving abroad.
Yes, they do. They became a kind of family away from family. They offer advice, share practices, and sometimes even invite you to family gatherings, which can be an eye-opening experience.
That's heartening to hear and surely a comfort to listeners fearing the isolation aspect of moving abroad. Any parting words of advice for our audience?
Absolutely. Don't rush the adaptation process. It's okay to feel out of your depth sometimes. Take each day as it comes, and remember, every step you take is a building block towards making that new place feel like home.
Wise words, Emily. You've given us a lot to reflect on. Thank you again for shedding light on the less discussed facets of expatriate life. We hope our listeners feel better prepared for their journeys.
Thank you. It's been wonderful sharing my experiences, and I wish all aspiring expats the best in their adventures.
And to all our listeners, we'll catch you in our next episode where we'll dive into the logistics of shipping belongings overseas. Until then, goodbye.